Welcome to Royalwood Church, and thank you for joining us online. If this ministry has impacted your life in any way, please share your testimony by sending us an email at media@royalwood.cc. We would love to hear about your experience. Or if you would like to give to the church financially, you can do so online at royalwood.cc by simply clicking on the Giving tab. Also, if you would like to be notified when we upload new sermons, subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. Once again, thank you for joining us online. Please open up your heart to receive a word from God today.
Matthew, the 27th chapter, verse number 29. And when they had platted a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews. And they spit upon him and took the reed and smote him on the head. And after that they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him and put his own raiment on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they were coming to a place called Golgotha, it is to say a place of a skull, they gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall. And he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. Everybody said, he didn't drink it. You may be seated. I'm preaching on this subject today, our theme, for the love. You know, there's things you'll do for love that you will not do for a law. I believe it was maybe Shane that said this today, or Lawrence, one of them, that was saying, you know, I wasn't really concerned with what the Bible said, but I fell in love with the Lord. If you have a family unit, husband and wife, that y'all get along great and you love being together, that's not because you signed a document of the things that you would or would not do. You do it for the love of that individual. And I will tell you, serving God becomes a drudgery if you're doing it because you have to, or you're doing it because somebody demands it of you. But if you do it because you love Him, you're on to something that cannot be altered. You know, I believe it was November the 15th, which today is the 13th, November the 15th, 2015, I preached a message here giving a matter of life and death in this very kind of service. And I was talking about what giving, how that it's a matter of life and death. And the way it was a matter of life and death is when the widow that had the oil and had the little bit of meal, when the prophet said to her, make me a cake, she said, well, I don't have anything but just a little bit of meal and a little bit of oil. And I'm gathering some sticks, and we're going to make a cake, and we're going to eat it, and me and my son are going to die. That's the end of the story. And he said, make me a cake first. And there at that moment, giving became a matter of life and death for her. Because if she said, no way, we're going to eat it and we're going to die, you'll have to fend for yourself. This was a miracle, a bunch of miracle ingredients of meal and oil, that if she hands that into the hand of the man of God, she's not going to die. She's going to make it through the entire famine. I know some of you have been worried about what's going to happen. The election's got you down. And you know, if you read the newspaper, I don't even know how you want to keep living. Of all the stuff, all the things that happen, all the things that's going on, and what is going to happen. And I just got a notice from Blue Cross and Blue Shield that my insurance is going up over 20%. And I know many of you have already experienced that, or your insurance is going to be dropped, and I can't figure out where is the affordable care. If somebody can tell me where that is, I would like to know, because so far I haven't found that. Not only is it going to go up, but my deductible is going to increase, $6,000 a year per person. And so that would be $6,000 for Sister Macey, $6,000 for me, and plus premiums over $1,000 a month. That's the place that we're living in. And you can take that and say, woe is me, or you can say, if God prepared bread in the wilderness, He can take care of me. He can take care of my family. I'm not worried about Washington. I'm not worried about Austin, the state capital. I'm worried about serving God and doing right. And so we went through that, and God did some marvelous things. You know, in John 3:16, people quote this all the time, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. God so loved that he gave. There's something in this love and then giving that I don't know that people ever even stop and think about this. Because when I love, I want to give. And not just to God, but to others or to friends or family or whatever the situation would be. But let me show you something else. When you give, it causes you to love. Because where your treasure is, that's where your heart goes. Some people are waiting on their heart to get to a place, and then they'll make an investment in the kingdom. But the way it really works, when you see these kids come in this morning and they bring their offering, if you wonder, is it worth it spending $30,000, $40,000 to make this place conducive for them to really have an education in God? When you see them walk down that aisle, you realize that I can invest in them. That's the future of the church. It's the present place of the church. We so love, we should give. Not just giving, well, Pastor, I give my tithe offering. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to give a 20 than it is to give 20 minutes. It's not just giving of your money, but giving of your time. We should never struggle for instructors. We do. Teachers that would come and help and teach and all of that. In the past, it was difficult to get teachers because, I don't want to miss Sunday service. But now you don't have to even worry about that. You can teach and still have Sunday service. Or you can have Sunday service and still teach. So that means that we ought to increase that because we love them so much we want to give. Don't cry crocodile tears and say you love, but it's no action involved in it. I say you've got to get, somebody needs to write a song, Love is Action. They need to be able to get in and do something for the Lord. Just talking about, that just tears me up. Well, do something about it. Get out and do something that will change somebody's life. Do you know that many Sundays while I'm preaching here, people are watching from Germany and Korea and the Canada and other places because somebody will get here early and run the media and make it happen. That's what love is. It's action. For the love of the church, get in gear. I didn't mean to say all that. I'll go back there today in the second service, between the second service, and they'll say, hey, Pastor, say all of that you said there at that point. And I'll say, well, I didn't plan on saying that. So when I say something by accident, I can't hardly come back and accidentally say it again. It's just something that pops out. But I'm motivated to love. Today, Brittany came in. She had the two boys. I told you, Torrin is in Guatemala, and she had the two boys, and Canaan's been sick, and he had some toys in his hand, and she said something that he wanted to do something, and she told him no. I don't even remember what it was. He wanted something, he didn't get it, and I just said, not where he could probably hear, but I just said, well, what was the problem with what he wanted? I mean, was it something illegal or what? No, he just didn't need it. He just didn't need it. But, we go over to, I don't remember what night it was, but we went to the Nutcracker Market, which it's just a place, you don't want to go. It's just a place that we get over there, and he starts asking, Canaan starts asking for a gift. We said, well, Christmas is coming, and maybe we'll find you something. And so we're thinking, he could pick out certain things, and then we might get them for him for Christmas. And then his grand says, well, we could get Christmas stuff, but we could also maybe find you something here for today. Well, it's not Christmas yet. But she's going to get him something now, and she's going to get him something at Christmas. So he gets to pick out something for the future and the present at that very moment. Because one of the things that motivates that is not rules and regulations, but it's love that motivates that. You want to do something. You want to do, if it's baking something, or it's fixing something, or it's holding them, or whatever it is, love is the thing that motivates you. We've got to get back to doing things out of love. I'm telling you today, I think about this. I can't get this off of my mind. How that the protests that go on and what's happening. There are times in my life, and I hope you understand this. I don't plan on this being a political speech today, but sometimes I think the whole combined world is going crazy. There's times I wonder if anybody's got any sense at all. I do know that there's very few people that seem to have common sense, which it means that common sense is not very common. They just don't. And so when I don't get it my way, I've got to do something. I remember in Ferguson, whenever this happened with this black man that was killed, and all of the rioting, and then all of the looting and the burning, and store owners who were black. Their lives were destroyed, their futures were destroyed, so that somebody could protest the seeming injustice that was happening to somebody in town. You don't hurt somebody while you're trying to help somebody else. We got to get back to doing things because we love. We've got to get back to doing things because we care. We care about our church. We care about our family. We care about our country. Our country's fixing to be a lot better because all those people that said they were leaving, they're fixing to go, and thank God for that. I can't wait. Be careful what you say because it may come back to haunt you at some point. This story that I read you, Jesus on his way to Golgotha, what really happened in all of that. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible beating, ridiculing, punishment. This is before nails driven in his hand. This is before he gets suspended on the cross. He's going to have to carry his own cross. He gets to a place where he stumbles and he can't carry it. So Simon of Cyrene is compelled to carry the cross. And now he's on his way. And when he gets there to the cross, they put together, these women put this together, but they give it to the Roman soldiers. And it is, the scripture called it vinegar mingled with gall. Actually, it was an intoxicating drink. It was a beverage that was concocted so that they could give it to the condemned to bring some little bit of ease in their suffering. When it was put up to Jesus, he tasted it, and when he realized what it was, he refused it. Because he's going to the cross because he loves. He's not going to be intoxicated because he loves. He's going to keep doing what he intended to do because he loves you. You wouldn't be saved today if God hadn't loved the world enough to lay down his life on a cross. How could you not love him back? You say, well, you know, I know the 10th belongs to the Lord. Let me tell you how it works around our house and with my family, everybody in my family. We give the part that belongs to God, we give the 10th of our increase back to the Lord, but all of it is his. We consider it all the Lord's. We may pay our car note and house note or whatever things we've got to pay with that, but we all consider that whatever we have is the Lord's. And I'll give you a scripture in Psalms in case you didn't believe this. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. He's got it all. The day's going to come when you hold on to things for yourself, all of the possessions, all the things you can get your hands on. And let me just say this to you. Wealthy people are not the only ones greedy. Some people that don't have two nickels to rub together are just as greedy as people that you see in corporate America somewhere. They're just as tight. They're just as greedy as anybody else. But when you have the mentality, God, you gave me the 90% to hang on to, and I'm going to use it for your cause. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to walk in the right way. You're not doing it because there's a letter here. There's something in the book that tells you have to. You do it for the love. You do it for love. This was his crowning service. He chose the cross to be remembered by. A lot of talk right now of what the outgoing president's legacy will be. They try to establish this. This is what their legacy is going to be. This is what they're going to be remembered by. Jesus was going not to be remembered by the miracles. That's not what he intended. What he intended was that people would remember his sacrifice. They would remember him by the cross. What will your legacy be? What are you going to be remembered by? That I just came to church and sat on the pew, I gave from time to time, I got my stuff together and went out, or did I make a difference? I was thinking about this morning, and I'm on this high horse, and maybe like I tell you a lot of times, get on the high horse and ride it into the prayer room. But I'm on this today. But I didn't have time to all night long run up and down the street and antagonize and the police having to do something with that. And I know people today that's their whole intent tonight, tomorrow, whenever it's going to be. And I said, pardon me if I'm not able to join in on the protest. I've got to get to church where I can help somebody make heaven their home. Let me tell you where you can really make a difference. Find a child and be involved. Get involved in a ministry somewhere. Do something that makes a difference. Somebody that couldn't come to church today is getting a chance to not only hear, but see this service today because somebody cared enough to make it happen. You were able to sing the words to the song because somebody had a ministry to make that happen in the media department. That could be you. That could be you that gets the gospel out to somebody and lives are turned upside down. We didn't come into this thing to freeload. We didn't come to get a free ride. We came to get involved and do it for God and give it for the love of His kingdom. It was the crown of the cross that He won. All the roads were leading to this moment. He didn't want to be sedated at the end. You know, the last thing you want is to have a pilot getting into the captain's chair, fixing to fly you somewhere, and through the night he's been drinking. I don't want an intoxicated pilot on my plane. Last thing you want is your doctor who's fixing to do open heart surgery on you to have been on a bender through the night. Comes in a little tipsy. He's fixing to crack your chest open and going to do open heart surgery. My Lord, I'm going to have to pull these IVs out. I'm getting out of this bed. I don't want that at the end. I've got to have somebody that's got a clear mind and they're everything, all of the faculties, everything just exactly right. Jesus' life was not over at this moment. His work was not finished at this moment. He could risk no mistake. He could make no error at the end. Finishing strong was paramount to the Lord. He had to do what he needed to do to the very end. He couldn't stop short. He could have drank the intoxicated beverage, and then there would have been the dulling of at least some of the pain. It wasn't successful. I mean, the nails still were the nails. The spear in his side would have still hurt, but there would have been something there, that dizzy concoction that would have kept him from feeling everything. But in John the 10th chapter, verse number 17, Jesus said, "Therefore doth my Father love me, and because of that I lay down my life that I may take it up again. But no man taketh it from me, but I lay it down myself." There was never a sacrifice that was given in the Bible that ever went to the altar willingly. That's why there were horns on the altar in the four corners, because they took the animal and laid it on the altar and then tied it down in the four horns of the altar, because the lamb didn't want to die. The oxen didn't want to die. No animal is going to go and lay on the altar willingly. But Jesus said, I'm going to do that. I'm fixing to change the modus operandi of all sacrifices. And I'm not going to be like others that reluctantly go and lay down my life. I willingly do it. And then I'm going to take it back up again. Where are the willing people that will love God because of who He is? We need to operate 2017 out of for the love. For the love. Because we love Him, we do these things. Listen what He said. Therefore doth my Father love me, and I love you, and I lay down my life for you. The drink was an offering by someone other than Himself. He did not request the drink that was offered to Him. Oftentimes, outside sources control us. People are offering us things and ways out that we didn't request, but we have the power of refusal. We have the ability to say no. We have the ability to shun those things. If He had not refused this drink out of his love for lost humanity, he might have missed saying at the last moment, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Had he been intoxicated, a little drunk, a little dull and numb in his faculties, he may have missed the part where he could look down from the cross and see Mary standing there and John, his brother, and say to John or to Mary, woman, behold your son, talking about John. And then look at his brother John and said, brother, behold your mother. In other words, take care of her. That was my job. I'm the eldest, but I'm fixing to go away and somebody's going to have to take care of mama. And I'm asking you to do that. The reason he's got to have a clear mind is for the love of his mama, for the love of his brother, for the love of his family, but also for the love of a lost creation. How can we get that kind of motivation in 2017 where we're no longer operating on can we be shamed into doing something, or can somebody pressure us into do something, or can we do it for the love? Can we do that? Thank you. He may have missed it had he not refused it for the love. He may have missed it where the thief on the cross looks over and says to him, Master, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus turned to him and said, this day you be with me in paradise. He had some things he had to finish up. He had some things where he had to have a clear mind. He had to do the right thing. He had to get to the end of this thing and be able to cry out, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? He's got to say these things. He's got to take care of these things at the end. We're coming to the end. Can we be clear in our thinking? Or are we besotted by the things of this world? We're drinking out of the carnal cup and entertainment world, and just that's all we can think about is doing something else, taking another trip, buying another thing. Or are we doing something today for the love of the lost and the love of his kingdom and what he loved?